Hello guys, welcome back. Today, I'm going to be ranking my top 10 most underrated prospects in the 2019 NHL Draft. Now there is a lot of diamond in the rough prospects in the 2019 NHL Draft, but which prospects crack my top 10 and which prospects crack my underrated list? Watch till the end to find out. We're going to jump straight into my top 10, and for my 10th most underrated prospect in this 2019 NHL Draft, I have Bobby Brink. He's a right winger, he's an American, age 17, and he's been an absolute monster in the USHL, and while he's been projected to be a first round pick, I think he should be even higher than that, possibly being in the top 15 in most people's mock drafts. But why is that? Well, his USHL stats were absolutely amazing. He played 43 games, getting 35 goals, 33 assists for 68 points. He was named the USHL Top Forward of the Year, which for a guy that's been 17 years old for a lot of this season is very, very impressive. In the USDP, he ended up playing 5 games, getting 6 points. Same thing with the World Junior Championship team of the U18 level with Team USA. He ended up playing 5 games as well, getting 6 points, 3 assists, and 3 goals. And he's been very solid the whole season. With Bobby Brink, he's a very underrated prospect in my opinion when it comes to his offensive potential. One of the definitely underrated prospects when it comes to Team USA's program. He has some fantastic skill and will show that in the NHL at least someday. Now heading it on to number 9, and for my 9th most underrated prospect in the 2019 NHL Draft, I have Patrik Puistola. He's a left winger, Finnish-born prospect, age 18, playing with Tappara of the Mistis League. And when it comes to Puistola, he's looked at as mostly a late second rounder, probably early third round pick, but I think he should definitely be higher, and I think he's proved that so far this season. Now, he's played in a whole bunch of leagues, starting with the Mistis, where he played 22 games this season, getting 15 goals, 11 assists for 26 points. In the Liga, he played 16 games, getting 1 assist. In the Junior SM Liga, he played 25 games, getting 11 goals, 11 assists for 22 points. With the World Junior Championship team of Team Finland of the U18 level, he ended up playing 5 games, getting 5 goals on that tournament, which was very solid and did kind of wake me from his potential. When it comes to Puistola, I do like his overall game. I think he's been kind of rising, especially in the last few months. He's been kind of proving himself little by little. When it comes to the offensive game, I think he has a lot of potential, and I think he will show that. Again, in this draft, he probably won't be an early second or even a first rounder, but I think he has that potential to be that type of guy, especially at the next level. Now heading on to number 8, and for my 8th most underrated prospect in this 2019 NHL Draft, I have Hugo Alinefelt. He's a goaltender, Swedish-born goaltender, age 17, playing with HV71 of the Junior 20 League. And when it comes to Alinefelt, he's the only goaltender in this top 10, but I think deserves to be here because while he's projected as maybe one of the lesser goaltenders in this draft, I think he deserves a lot of stock and a lot of praise for what he's done so far. Now, when we look at his stats, those are very solid as well. He played in the Super Elite League for the most part this season, playing 24 games, getting a 2.59 goals against average and a .905 save percentage. Those are solid stats in the Super Elite League, and while they might not be great stats like the NHL or the AHL or something, those are solid stats over there in Sweden. When it comes to the U18 World Juniors, he ended up playing 5 games with Team Sweden and being absolutely amazing, getting a 2.75 goals against average, but a .921 save percentage. And I was super impressed by what I saw in that U18 tournament. While I haven't seen too much of him in the Super Elite League, some of it which has impressed me, when it comes to that U18 World Juniors, obviously it is a tournament, so it's hard to gauge on just that small sample size, but I think he has a lot of potential, and from what I've seen, he's pretty freaking good. Moving on to number 7, my 7th most underrated prospect in the 2019 NHL Draft, I have Jamiesok Rees. He's a center, a Canadian, age 18, with the starting team of the OHL. When it comes to mock drafts, Jamiesok Rees is about, I would say, a late second, early third in most people's mock drafts, but I think he should be a lot higher than that, probably even as high as maybe even in the late first round. Now, in the OHL this season, he played 37 games, getting 10 goals, 22 assists for 32 points. In the playoffs, he played 4 games and got 0 points. In the U18 World Juniors with Team Canada, he played 7 games, but got 2 goals, 6 assists for 8 points, really showing how good he can be. When it comes to his OHL stats, we got to also take into account that the starting he's seeing are pretty average. I would say average at best. They don't really have too many fantastic players. Jamiesok Rees is one of the better ones on that team, 100%. And when it comes to these stats, at least offensively, the points, they are okay. You would like to see that more points on the board, at least over a point per game. But I think he is still solid with a pretty bad starting steam team. He's been able to produce quite well, and we saw how well he did play with Team Canada in the World Juniors. While Team Canada is obviously a solid team, he was one of the better and best prospects in that tournament, which really shows how much potential he has. Now heading on to number 6, and my 6th most underrated prospect in the 2019 NHL Draft, I have Yegor Afanasyev. He's a left winger slash right winger, a Russian-born prospect, age age 18 with the Lumberjacks of the USHL. He's been kind of in that second, I would say, kind of mid-second round pick-ish. I think that's about where he will go. But I think Afanasyev has first-round talent, and in the USHL, I think he's kind of proved that. When it comes to his stats in the USHL, he had a pretty great season, playing 58 games, getting 27 goals, 35 assists for 62 points. In the playoffs, he played 8 games, getting 2 goals, 4 assists for 6 points. When it comes to Afanasyev, while I haven't seen him as much as some other prospects even on this list, I'm a pretty big fan of what he brings, especially offensively. The talent and the potential is obviously there, and we've seen that so far. When it comes to Afanasyev, he'll likely be around a mid to late second round pick, but I think he should go as high as maybe even a first round pick for the potential that he has. Now, pointing into the top 5, and for my 5th most underrated prospect in the 2019 NHL draft, I have Simon Holmstrom. He's a right-winger, Swedish-born prospect at age 17, playing with HV71 of the Junior 20 League, and he's had a pretty solid season up to this point. He's looked at as mostly a mid-second rounder, but I think he should be a first-round pick, and I think he's solidified himself at that status. Now, when it comes to Holmstrom's stats this season, he mostly played in the Super Elite League, playing 21 games, getting 7 goals, 13 assists for 20 points. In the playoffs, he played 3 games, getting 1 goal, 2 assists for 3 points. In the SHL, he played 1 game and got 0 points. But last but not least, the most impressive thing about his season was the U18 World Juniors with Team Sweden, where he dominated, playing 7 games, getting 3 goals, 3 assists for 6 points. Now, heading on to number 4, and for my 4th most underrated prospect in the 2019 NHL draft, I got Vladislav Kolyachonok. Pretty sure I'm pronouncing that right. Let me know. He's a defenseman, Belarusian prospect at age 17, playing with the Flint Firebirds of the OHL, and he's a pretty solid prospect, even though his name is an absolute mouthful. Now, in the OHL with the terrible Flint Firebirds this season, he played 54 games, getting 4 goals, 26 assists for 30 points. In the U18 World Junior Championships with the bad Belarusian team, he played 5 games, getting 1 goal, 4 assists for 5 points. And when it comes to Kolyachonok's stats, they're very interesting because with the Flint Firebirds, they're probably the worst CHL team in the entire CHL. They don't have really any firepower, but Kolyachonok was able to put up some decent points, especially for a defenseman, and that's pretty impressive, especially for an OHL defenseman. And for him to be that young, again, still be 17, he has been impressive so far. In the World Juniors, he looked pretty solid as well. I was pretty impressed by how he was playing, and with Kolyachonok overall, I like his offensive game, I like his defense, and I think he's a pretty great prospect that right now probably should go in the second round, probably early second round, though he has been pegged as like maybe a later second round pick. I think he should be an early second pick by how he's been playing right now. Now, going to number 3, my 3rd most underrated prospect in the 2019 NHL draft, I got Domeniche Fensore. He's a defenseman, an American, at age 17. He's committed to Boston University of the NCAA. And when it comes to Fensore, his name has been brought up a lot of times the last couple of months. He's been fairly impressive, especially recently, and the World Juniors with Team USA. He really intrigued me. Now, in the USDP this season, he played 55 games, getting 6 goals, 36 assists for 42 points. During the USHL, he played 25 games, getting 6 goals, 20 assists for 26 points. In the U18 World Juniors with Team USA, he played 7 games, getting 4 assists for 4 points. And when it comes to Domeniche Fensore, again, his stats aren't the best in the world, but they're very, very solid, especially for a defenseman that has a lot of offensive potential. And the offensive potential is there. He's an excellent skater, one of the fastest defensemen we've seen in the NHL, or come through the NHL draft in a long time. And when it comes to his skill, I think he has a lot of potential on the next level, do a lot of different things, to be a two-way defenseman, but to also have a lot of offense potential, especially on the power play. When it comes to his overall draft stock, I've seen him go as far as maybe the second round, but I've seen some people maybe put him in like the 3rd and 4th round. So he is all over the place. But I think with Fensore, he should be a second round pick, and I think he's proven himself up to this point. Now, going on to number 2, my 2nd most underrated prospect in this 2019 NHL draft, I got Brayden Tracey. He's a left winger, a Canadian, at age 17 with the Moose Jaw Warriors. Brayden Tracey has been kind of under radar, especially for me, because I haven't really noticed him too much except for these last few months, and he's made a big impact in both the WHL and the World Juniors. Now, when it comes to his WHL stats, they are very solid. With Moose Jaw, he played 66 games, getting 36 goals, 45 assists for 81 points. Very good when compare it to some of the top WHL guys in this draft, guys like Graviteh, Dylan Cousins, Payne Krebs for sure. In the U18 World Juniors with Team Canada, he played 7 games, getting 4 goals, 3 assists for 7 points. Very fantastic performance, and I was especially impressed by what he was able to do. When it comes to his draft stock, he's looked mostly as a mid-second round or maybe even late second round pick, but because of the World Juniors, I think his stock will start to go up a little bit. I think with Brayden Tracey, he is a first round pick. I think he has deserved that up to this point for how well he's played in the WHL and especially the World Junior Championships. Now, when it comes to number 1, my most underrated prospect in this 2019 NHL draft, I have Nicholas Robertson. He's a center / left winger, an American-born prospect at age 17 with the Peterborough Petes. He had an amazing OHL season and is straight up not getting enough credit. Now, when it comes to the stats of Nicholas Robertson with the Petes, he ended up playing 54 games in the OHL, getting 27 goals, 28 assists for 55 points, just over a point per game. In the playoffs, he played 5 games, getting 1 goal, 1 assist for 2 points. But when it comes to the Peterborough Petes, yes, they made the playoffs, but they're not too great of an OHL team. They're pretty average. They have some solid players, but Nicholas Robertson is definitely one of the better ones. From what I've seen, Nicholas Robertson has unbelievable talents, and he wasn't able to really do that too much on the Petes because he didn't really have the greatest teammates. If Nicholas Robertson gets some good teammates at the next NHL level, he'll absolutely destroy worlds. I see that happening. Being the brother of Jason Robertson, he also has an experience there. I think in the OHL, he'll do very, very good next year. We'll see how good he really can be. And of course, if he gets some actual teammates that can actually score, I think he'll have some fantastic chances and of course, a lot more points than he has this time around. Now, when it comes to Robertson's draft stock, a lot of people right now have him in the second round, whether it's to the early or late second round pick. A lot of people have him in that second round, which I'm going to tell you guys right now is seriously underrating Robertson and the skill that he brings because he has a ton of it. When it came to my May 2019 NHL mock draft, I had him, I think, around number 23, which I think is pretty respectful. I probably will have him even higher in my final mock draft. When it comes to me personally, I think he's probably a top 20 prospect, not just because of the stats. Those stats are solid, but because of this talent that he brings, the absolutely amazing handling that he brings. Obviously, the talent offensively is what is there, but the potential he has in the next level, I think, is through the roof. And with Robertson, well, he's not a top 15 prospect or any top prospect in this draft. I think he is the most underrated prospect in this NHL draft. But of course, with this video, I want to hear your guys' thoughts down in the comments down below. So, let me know what do you think about my top 10 most underrated prospects in the 2019 NHL draft. What do you agree with? What do you disagree with? And of course, the question on to you. Who do you think is the most underrated prospect in this draft? But if you guys want some more Grav videos just like this one, you can click on this card right here to watch my video about Kakko and why you prefer him over Jack Hughes. But that'll be it for today, guys. If you guys did enjoy, make sure you like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell if you haven't already. Again, comment down below your thoughts on my underrated prospects and which you agree with and disagree with and what your underrated prospect would be in this draft. And I'll see you guys next video or stream. Goodbye.